The Arbour Clinic went from not really ranking at all on Google to ranking first and second for their key terms of osteopath, osteopath strewed and osteopath near me. That led to more patients, more revenue, and their founder being able to leave her work elsewhere to focus on her dreams of running her own business. My name is Dann, I'm the founder of Broxbourne Marketing, and in this local SEO course I'm showing you how we got these kind of results for our clients and how you can do exactly the same for your business. This video is on profile optimization. If you haven't already, don't forget to watch the previous videos in this series, click like and subscribe, and download your free SEO runbook from the link in the description. So what is profile optimization? Well, Google, Bing and Apple all have free business profiles that you can create online for your business. These three profiles are really important to your local SEO, but each one has its own idiosyncrasies and pitfalls which you need to be aware about if you're going to use them well and avoid a lot of frustration further down the line. So let's get stuck in and start with your Google business profile. If you don't already have a Google business profile for your business, you can set one up by going to business.google.com and following the on-screen instructions. You'll then need to verify your profile. Now, verifying your profile can be as simple as Google phone you with a code which you just type in, or they can ask you to jump through more hoops. They might want you to send videos showing the signage of your shop and so on, and then still not verify your profile. If you have issues verifying it, raise it up with Google support, look for help online, be patient, you will get there in the end. It's not uncommon for people to have trouble verifying their Google business profile. Once you've created and verified your Google business profile and logged in, you'll see a screen something like this that has your business profile down the right hand side of the screen, that's the public facing profile, and options to manage it over here on the left. Just want to say a huge thank you to Natalie at Clinical Massage London for letting us use her profiles for this video. So let's have a look at the options that we've got to manage our profile, starting over here with Edit Profile. So here we've got some basic information like the business name. Now, Clinical Massage London is a perfect business name for SEO because it contains the service, massage and the location, London. If your business name doesn't contain your service and location names, then you might want to think about tagging those on the end. For example, if your business is a plumber and you're called Tom's Taps, you could put Tom's Taps Plumber Bristol. Just make sure you keep that consistent across your website and across all other mentions of your business online. Next, we have business categories. Pick something appropriate for your primary category, like here we have sports massage therapist, and then anything else that's relevant for your secondary categories. If you want to find out what categories your best performing competitors are using, you can download a Chrome extension called GMB Everywhere from the link in the description, and that will let you spy on the categories that your competitors are using. Next, we have the 750 character description. Now, this should be useful for any potential customers, but it should also again contain your SEO keywords. So you can see here we have keywords like massage, London, Stoke Newington, North London, sports massage, pregnancy massage, deep tissue massage, myofascial release and trigger point therapy, all of which people who are looking for massage therapy are actually searching for. Next, we have the opening date. Now, this might not seem important, but Google and other engines will use it to disambiguate your business. So when it sees 6 different mentions of a business and they all have exactly the same opening date, it just gives Google a bit more confidence that these are all talking about the same business. That can have a bit more confidence to return you in the results. Next, we have some basic contact information, phone number, chat facility if you have one, website address, social profiles, and a short name which will allow a shortcut to your Google Maps listing. So if I type in g.page/clinical-massage-London, that will take me to Clinical Massage London's listing on Google Maps. We then have a menu or services link. Now, what this is for is just to show Google all the different services that you provide and the prices they cost. So for a restaurant, that would be a menu, for example, that shows all the different dishes and the different prices. We've linked this to Natalie's booking page because that shows all the different treatments available with their prices. Then we have your location and areas. So you'll put in your address, point out where the business is on a Google map, and then put in your service areas. Now, service areas are meant to be for places where you will go to visit your customer, not where your customers come from to visit you. But even if you're a business that doesn't go to visit its customers, putting in the areas that you want to target in there is only going to make you more visible. So go ahead and do it. Next we have opening hours, which again is quite obvious, but one thing to be aware of with opening hours is, like all your information, it should be consistent in every mention of you on the internet. Which means if you go and build 30, 50 directory listings and citations for your business and then change your opening hours, you really, for SEO, need to change them in every single one of those places. We then have special hours for things like breakfast if you're a cafe or restaurant, dinner and so on. And then with Google, a bit of a hodgepodge of accessibility and inclusivity questions, which you can answer as appropriate. We then say how we take payments and what payments are acceptable, and some other general options that you can fill in, like whether you need an appointment and what languages are spoken at the business. So just something to point out here with Google Business Profiles, which is, you can see here it says your attributes were updated by Google. Google won't just take the information that you give it and assume that it's correct. It will look around the internet for other mentions of your business and try and figure out for itself what's right and what's not. The problem is it's not very good at it, so it will make mistakes. It will add in services that you don't actually do, and it will remove services that you do, and it won't notify you that it's made these changes. So check your Google Business Profile regularly to see if Google's messed anything up for you, and if it has, put it right again. The other thing to mention here, we've got the address listed correctly as rear of shop 81 Stoke Newington Road, but when I look at the profile on the front end, it says rear of, comma, shop. It's moved the comma from after the P to after the of. Now, address reformatting is another real big problem with Google Business Profiles. All you can do is try resubmitting the correct address a few times and then raise it up to Google support. When it goes wrong, they'll fix it in the end. That's everything in the Profile tab. Next we have read reviews. Now the next video in this series we go into a lot more depth on reviews, so be sure to watch that to find all about reviews for SEO. Then we have the Photos tab. Now, photos are really important for your Google Business Profile. For one thing, Google loves photos and it will rank you higher if you keep uploading photos. The other thing is, the reason Google loves photos is it gives the user a really good idea of what that business is like. If I look at Clinical Massage London's photos here, you can see they give a really good feel of what it's like inside the business, what sort of place it is. So make sure you add plenty of photos. One of them at least should be the shop front so people can see what they're looking for from the outside. You can also specify one to be your logo. Next we have the posts feature. Now the posts that you put on appear at the bottom down here of your Google Business Profile, and they act like a miniature social media for your Google Business Profile. It is a really useful feature to use for two reasons. One is that it makes your profile take up more vertical space on the page here, and when a profile takes up a lot of space, a user automatically has more trust in that business, thinks that that business is more important. The other thing is, because you can add photos to your posts, it just makes your profile look more interesting, look like there's more going on, and make a user more likely to engage with it. So use that posts feature even if you post something once a month or so to say what's going on at the business. After posts we have the performance tab. This will show us how many people are engaging with the Google Business Profile, how many calls it's created, how many people have asked for directions and visited our website as a result of going to the Google Business Profile. Then we have advertise, which is just a plug for Google Ads. And then we have products and services. Products and services are really important. Now, products is meant to be for physical products that you sell, like a can of beans or a hairdryer or whatever else. And services is for actual services. So for example, MOT on your car or a massage therapy, for example. But Google treats the two of them very differently. So whatever we put in products is going to appear on our actual Google Business Profile down here, when the user can see all the different products which are available and how much they cost. Now that's a really useful feature because it not only again makes your profile bigger and look more interesting, but it also allows the user to see what's on offer before they go through the step of clicking through to your website. So even if your business only does services and doesn't sell any physical products, we'll tend to use that products feature anyway. The services tab works completely differently. You put all your services in here, but these aren't visible to the user on the front end. They're only used by Google for the purposes of SEO to decide whether you're right to return for a particular search. So in here you can put all of your different services that your business provides. The user won't see them, but Google will. Next we have the bookings option, and using this, if you are a business that takes online bookings, we'll create this nice big book online call to action button here in your business profile. That's really helpful. It makes the business profile look more interesting and it makes people more likely to convert, so definitely use it. Then last of all, we have ask for reviews, which will give you a shareable link to leave you a Google review and a QR code which you can print and put in your shop for people to scan and leave you a review there and then. Like I said, we're going into a lot more detail on reviews in the next video, so make sure you stay tuned and watch. That's your Google business profile. So next is your Bing business profile, which will show up in Bing Places for anyone who's using Bing browser. Now again, you have to create that profile, this time by going to bing.com/forbusiness and following the on-screen instructions. Verifying a Bing profile can be even harder than verifying a Google business profile. They might say they're going to send you a postcard with a code on it which you need to enter. That postcard can take several months to arrive. You might have to request it several times. Again, if you struggle, look for advice and information online and raise it up with support. You will get there eventually. Once you've created the profile and logged in, you'll see a screen much like this, and the process is pretty much the same as Google business profile. You're just going to go through and edit your different options. But if you look over here, all of these options are grayed out and I can't actually edit any of the business's information. And it says to prevent misuse or spam, some of the details are not editable. To change these details, please update your information in Google. This is because Bing has a much more collaborative model of sourcing information. So by default, it will just grab all the information from your Google business profile and sync to that. Again, the problem is that it doesn't do it very well. Sometimes it will make mistakes, and the options in Bing don't exactly correlate to the options in Google. So if we look down here in the additional details section, with Google business profile I can specify that the business is women owned, but with Bing I can also specify that it's veteran owned or black owned. But because those options don't exist in Google, Bing's not filled out any information for them, and it won't allow me to edit it because it says I have to edit them in Google where they don't exist. The answer to this is to unsync your Bing profile from your Google business profile, which you can do from the options up here. Again though, we unsynced this profile 2 weeks ago and it's still syncing to Google, so you just have to be really patient, raise it up to support where necessary, you'll get there in the end. Last of all, we have your Apple Maps profile. This is a really important one, not just for SEO, but also because iPhone users will probably be using Apple Maps when they use Maps without realizing it. So this is the profile that they're going to see. You can create your Apple Maps profile by going to businessconnect.apple.com and following the instructions. Again, you'll have to verify it and so on. Once all that's done, you'll have a screen a bit like this where you can go through the same process of editing your profile. It also has this really nice, very Apple feature where I can see exactly what that profile is going to look like when someone comes across it on their mobile phone. Now, Apple is kind of in the middle of Google and Bing in the way it sources information. It will grab information from elsewhere, it will look at business directories, it will look at your Google business profile and pull in information from there, create a profile itself, update the profile itself, but it will also let you edit your information freely. So the same process just applies of going through all of this this information and making sure it's all correct and up to date. One really good thing about the Apple profile is this good to know section, which has a whole load of much more useful options than the Google Business Profile, which only gives you a few. So to sum up, your Google Business Profile, Bing Profile and Apple Profile are really important for local SEO. They can be a bit tricky. If you have problems verifying or getting your information correct, just persevere, raise it up to support, look for help and advice online, and you will get there in the end. I'll see you in the next video on review generation. If you haven't already, click like and subscribe, download your free SEO runbook from the link in the description, and if you'd like any help with your business's own SEO, book a call with us using the link in the description.